Hello there, very good evening. This is the weekend edition of Prime Time News on TV1. For the news first about the people, come first. I'm Martin Satyanesan. Let's start off with a look at your headlines for this evening.
President emphasizes the critical need for a comprehensive review of the country's national security strategy.
මේ රටේ අනාගත ආරක්ෂාව පිළිබඳ සමාලෝචනයක් කරන්න.
15 districts battered by arid weather conditions.
රුපියල් 3ක් වෙනවා වතුර ලීටරයක්.
අපි වැඳලා ඉල්ලනවා අපිට මේ ගමට වතුර ටික ලබා දෙන්න කියලා.
කායි වැඩිම හානිය තියෙන්නේ දැනට වාර්තා වෙලා තියෙන්නේ කුරුණෑගල දිස්ත්‍රික්කයේ.
Pediatric cardiac catheterization unit of the Karapitia Teaching Hospital on hold. Trade unions warn of possibility of 5,000 doctors migrating. Millions of rupees looted by not constructing the electricity transmission lines connecting the national grid in the south. A revelation by trade unions. Who will be given the leadership of the SLPP at the next elections?
පක්ෂ කාර්යාලය ඉනගෙන ඒක හරියට මෙහෙවනවා.
හොඳ දැක්මක් තියෙන තරුණ ශක්තිමත් ජව සම්පන්න නායකයෙක් මේ රටට අවශ්‍ය කාලය ලැබිලා තියෙනවා.
තරුණ පළියට නායකත්වය දීලා හරියන්නේ නැහැ.
Ukrainian drone damages building in Moscow.
On to those stories in detail. President Ranil Wickremesinghe said that a review of the country's national security is expected and attention will be paid to all factors including new economic trends and climate change. The president said that a team headed by retired Major General Channa Gunathilaka has been appointed for that purpose, and after receiving the report he will take steps to prepare modern security policies of the National Security Council. President Ranil Wickremesinghe expressed these views while addressing the President's colour presentation ceremony to the volunteer force of the Sri Lanka Navy held at the Busa Advanced Naval Training Centre yesterday afternoon.
Commander-in-Chief President Ranil Wickremesinghe, who arrived at the Busa Advanced Naval Training Centre, was received by the Commander of the Navy, Vice Admiral Priyantha Perera, and the Chief of the Volunteer Brigade, Rear Admiral Dambika Kumara.
His Excellency Honorable Ranil Wickremesinghe, the President and Commander-in-Chief.
A special military honour was presented to the President, and the President also joined in observing the parade. The President presented the colours to the volunteer force of the Sri Lanka Navy and presented the flag.
Now 14 years have passed since the end of the war. Now we must focus on the present and the future. What we have to face today is not the situation of 2009 or 1983. Today the struggle of the world powers has reached the Indian Ocean. On one hand, there is a power struggle between America and China in the Pacific Ocean. On the other hand, there is a power struggle between Ukraine and Western Russia. That power struggle has also reached the country of Niger in Africa, which is the neighbouring country of Mali, where our army is serving. The most important trade route in the world is located in the Indian Ocean. Sri Lanka occupies an important place there. We must move forward without getting caught up in these power struggles and without bias. We have to pay attention to our safety there.
ඒ වගේම අභ්‍යන්තරයෙන් එන තර්ජන තියෙනවා නම් එදා වාගේ කොටි සංවිධානය වාගේ විශාල යුද්ධයක් නෙමෙයි විශේෂයෙන් පාස්කු ඉරිදා වාගේ සිද්ධි වලින් තමයි අභ්‍යන්තරයට උගක් රටවල් වල තර්ජනය එන්නේ.
Today we are involved in world politics. Whether we like it or not, we have to think about it. If so, I hope to conduct a review of the future national security of this country. Every country in Europe conducts such a review every 5 or 10 years. They conduct a review of what are the threats to the country, what are the resources of the country, and how it should be implemented. Accordingly, decisions are made by comparing their military power and economic strength. We should also pay attention to that. Today, there are many modern technical devices such as Donor. The use of submarines in the Indian Ocean has increased. So, for our maritime security, we should focus on creating a program that controls submarines. Also, we cannot say that airplanes and donors will be operational in the future. More technology should be used in the future than today. As a poor country, it is difficult for us to do these things. Future challenges cannot be faced from the past. Therefore, I hope to conduct a review of national security in this country. This review report should be prepared by focusing on new economic trends and climate change. After receiving the report, it is expected to prepare modern security policies of the National Security Council. Defence 2030 has appointed the necessary review team to prepare this report under the leadership of former Major General General Channa Gunatilaka. A separate office has also been created for that work.
President Ranil Wickremesinghe also joined to watch the beautiful band performance by the Sri Lanka Navy.
Who will lead the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna in the coming elections? Are all party members of the same stance? The following views regarding the matter were expressed at the party's Central Colombo electoral meeting held on Saturday.
Democracy has answered the inhumane attack on us carried out on the 9th of May. Basil Rajapaksa has activated the entire political organizational network of the SLPP from the Nelummavata headquarters. Last week during the meeting where the heads of the local governments were convened, Basil Rajapaksa said that no matter what election comes up next, whether it be the presidential election or the general election or the local government elections, Porto will certainly be there in the ballot papers.
ballot paper එකේ පොහොට්ටුව තියනවා මයි කියන පණිවිඩය කිව්වා.
Basil Rajapaksa is handling everything in the right manner from the party headquarters.
වැඩියම කොළඹ ගැහුවේ කාක්කා කපුටු කාක්කා කියලා මතකද? ඇයි? එතුමා දක්ෂ නිසා.
Why is that? Because he is talented. Our party is strong enough to contest any election. We have joined hands from the UNP at some provincial councils and municipal councils. We took that decision at the time. So we are telling you that we will be contesting any election, and we assure you that Pohottua will win all of those elections and become the #1 political party in the country again.
නැවත වාරයක් ශ්‍රී ලංකාවේ ජයග්‍රහණය කරනවා කියලා ඉතාමත් මාතරින් ගෞරවයෙන් මතක්.
The General Secretary of the party expressed contradicting views.
This country needs a young, strong, talented leader with a good vision. We need a fresh, young leadership to take this country forward with the developing world. We will give you that leadership from the SLPP.
අන්නේ නායකත්වය අපි ඔබලාට ලබා දෙනවා ශ්‍රී ලංකා පොදු ජන පෙරමුණ හැටියට.
එහෙම තරුණ පළියට නායකත්වය දීලා හරියන්නේ නැහැ.
Nobody can take the leadership just because they are young. If so, I am also young. I can also take the leadership. Don't give the country to one's hands just because he is young. We have seen many sons of the presidents. They are like children. The country can be handed over to a person who is young, intelligent, educated and creative as well.
ආදරණීය අප්පච්චි මහින්ද රාජපක්ෂ මැතිතුන්ගේ ආදරණීය පුත්‍ර රත්නය අනාගත බලාපොරොත්තුව නාමල් රාජපක්ෂ මැතිතුමනි අවසරයි ඔබතුමාගේ. ඒ ප්‍රේමදාසගේ පුතා නෙමෙයි. එයා තවම බබා. ගහපල්ලොක බං අයියෙන් ඕක. දැන් අහනවා ඡන්ද දිනන්න පුළුවන්.
Now we are asking if we can win the election. President Wickremesinghe, hold the election now. We will win any election that is held.
දැන් තියෙන ඕන මැතිවරණයක් අපි දිනනවා.
රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහ මැතිතුමා ජනාධිපති කරන්න හැකියාව ලැබුණෙත් අපිට
We were able to appoint Ranil Wickremesinghe as the president because you elected us to the parliament. If there's any contradiction in the principles and if any harm is caused to the country, to our political campaign and to the unity of this country during the implementation, the SLPP will not think twice before opposing it.
එයට විරුද්ධවත් හඬ නගන්න දෙපාරක් කල්පනා කරන්නේ නැහැ කියන එක මගේ ආදරය අම්මේ තාත්තේ මතක් කරන්න ඕනේ.
The Galle District Tri-Forces Conference of the Jatika Jana Balavegya was held on Saturday. The party leader expressed the following views regarding the behavior of the political leader in the country.
The entire society was divided. The society was divided as Sinhalese and Tamils. A plan is set in motion before every election.
වඳ කොත්තු වඳ ඇඳුම් වඳ දොස්තරලා 2018 වෙනකොට ආපහු සටන් පටයක් ආවා ජාතිය අනතුරුයි ආගම අනතුරුයි දැනුත්.
In 2018, a slogan came out saying that the nation and the religion is in danger. We can see that it is being experimented once again. Look at the recent incidents. These are not natural. Why does Ranil Wickremesinghe suddenly wants to open a university for studies for the Theravada Buddhism at the Mahaviharaya? Why does this happen all at once? How does the 13th Amendment come into a topic of conversation out of nowhere? Sagar Karyawasam says that they don't agree with that. They are trying to bring back the division. who is protecting the Kurundu Viharaya? Who is protecting that? That is division. Therefore, we have a challenge to see actual problems instead of these fake divisions. The rulers could cover the real problems by new divisions they created. They created the April 21st attacks. After the April 21st attacks, it was revealed that both the parties were credited cash from the same account. This is clearly a problem created by them. They want to cover the reality by creating a false division.
Opposition leader Sajid Premadasa emphasized that the opposition is ready to support the government if a program is implemented to rebuild the country without political agendas.
This government doesn't have a plan to save the people of the country while maintaining national unity. The opposition is ready to support this to its fullest capacity. We are ready for any practical national program for the people of this country. For that, I would like to tell the government that it is our duty to join hands with the government to help in the recovery of the country. If you are not able to implement a program to save the lives by getting rid of political agendas, we are ready to take over.
People in 15 districts continue to suffer from arid weather conditions.
Arid weather conditions have affected 15 districts, namely Ratnapura, Trincomalee, Batticaloa, Ampara, Puttalam, Kurunegala, Jaffna, Mena, Mullaitivu, Badulla, Munaragala, Hambantota, Gampaha and Matale districts. People in these districts are facing shortage of drinking water. What is the situation in Kurunegala, the most affected district? People of many villages such as Theliyagenna, Mallavapitiya, Kanda Badavatta, Kolapalalikanda are facing difficulties to obtain clean drinking water following the overflowing of the Vinner River in Kurunegala. The number of families affected by this issue is 600. By now, all the wells in the area have dried up and the villagers have to walk many miles in search of water.
The weather has dried up. This is a 380-acre weather. We are forced to drink unsuitable water. Our children do not have water.
Farmers as well as fishermen have become helpless owing to this issue.
There needs to be water in the weather for us to fish. We do not have a livelihood now.
People of Ternalanda village, located at the border of the Victoria Reservoir in Theldenia electorate division of Kandy, are also severely affected by water shortage. The villagers said that the water level of the tube well of the area has also reduced. This has affected the daily activities of 250 families. This is the current situation of the Batticaloa district in the eastern province. People from many villages in the Batticaloa district, including Chenkaladi, Nerappura, Mudalakkuda, Karadianaru, Ilupaji Chennai, are rendered helpless owing to the water shortage. People in these areas say animal husbandry has also been affected owing to the issue. What is the situation of the northern province? People of the Vaunia district in the northern province are facing many problems with the drying up of the Paranathakkal River. People pointed out that animal husbandry is affecting the areas who are depending on the water from the Omantha River and the Navatkulam River. Meanwhile, the irrigation department says that the water levels of the main reservoirs are reducing further. The director of the water management unit, Sudarshani Vidanapatirana, says that the water capacity has gone down to 28.4%. It could be seen that most of the small rivers in many districts throughout the country have dried up. Due to this, the freshwater fishing industry has also been severely affected. So far, 45,924 acres of cultivation lands have been destroyed due to the arid weather conditions throughout the country. 22,718 acres of cultivation fields have been damaged in the Kurunegala district. This is the highest amount of cultivation damages reported from the country. 14,667 acres of fields in Udavalava have been damaged. The number of farmers affected by the crop damage is 40,527. The Kurunegala district has the highest number of farmers affected by the arid weather, which stands at 27,340. According to latest reports, number of farmers who suffered crop damage from Udavalava is 5,867. Some of the paddy fields in Muravasihena division of the right bank of Valava received water today. Farmers of Gurugudella have also obtained water by forcefully diverting water from the Bualiara. Farmers point out that they could have saved their crops if they received this water 2 weeks ago. Attending an event in Ambalantara on Saturday, the Minister of Agriculture Mahinda Amaraveera stressed that the amount of cultivation fields destroyed owing to the shortage of water could be higher than the calculated amount.
The highest damage in Sri Lanka is currently reported from the Kurunegala district. Next is the Hambantara district. Now there are many more additions every day. As of yesterday, it was more than 45,000 acres. I think that more than 50,000 acres are damaged as of today. And this amount is likely to increase. Already 5 groups of our officials are in Hambantota frequently engaging in survey activities, and all of them have been directed to other districts to get a report on the damage.
With the red weather conditions, there has been a severe lack of water for people to meet their basic daily needs as water for farming, and this has caused suffering to many of our brothers and sisters. As a responsible media organization, we have one message for you. Use water sparingly. The water that you will save quench the thirst of countless people who are suffering without water. The only way we can overcome these challenging times is together. In other local news, the Karapitiya Teaching Hospital Committee says that most of the services of the Pediatric Cardiac Catheterization Unit of the Karapitiya Teaching Hospital are on hold.
The situation has escalated following the migration of the only pediatric cardiologist who was attached to the Karapitiya Teaching Hospital for foreign service. The hospital committee says that due to this, performing pediatric heart surgeries has come to a standstill.
He was offered an opportunity in Canada and he left recently. Therefore, there is a vacancy in that position. When he was serving at the hospital, he rendered a great service. For the entire area, he was the only doctor who would carry out cardiac catheterization. Currently, a cardiologist is serving in the acting position of that vacancy, but their doctor isn't carrying out the treatments. Because of this, we have to send the patients to hospitals like Lady Ridgeway. He was the only doctor who performed cardiac catheterization on every child patient in the Uva and Eastern provinces. I don't think it will be easy to fulfill his vacancy. There is a doctor's shortage almost in every field of medicine, especially in the anesthesia department. The anesthesia department should function at the capacity of 100%, but only 40% of the capacity is fulfilled. Maintaining patient care services is a difficult task. It is actually maintained by dedicated doctors. We haven't halted any activity because of the doctor's shortage. Those who are here are working at their maximum capacity. The Government Medical Officers Association says close to 5,000 doctors are awaiting opportunities to migrate as they have fulfilled all the necessary requirements. The association points out that the doctors' shortage will worsen once they leave for the training. The Health Ministry said that steps will be taken to facilitate the specialist doctors who will be rehired on contract basis.
If there is a shortage of doctors in a hospital and if retired doctors are willing to work at such hospitals, we can hire those doctors on contract basis. Not only that, but also the Health Ministry has agreed to provide accommodation to specialist doctors from distant provinces if the hospitals do not have accommodation facilities, and is now working to get the services of these doctors.
Speaking at the media briefing on Saturday, the Association of Health Professionals made the following remarks regarding brain drain.
Even though we want to leave this country, if those countries aren't accepting us, how can we migrate? What else of our local products do other foreign countries prefer? Nothing. So it is our luck that other countries are offering job opportunities to medical practitioners of our country. So we are requesting the government to do a proper census as the first step. Even if you tell that this much left and there is a shortage, that is not the reality. But the government has taken a wrong decision. They have freezed recruitments as well. The responsibility of this country is to develop people to send abroad. Under a global economy, we do not engage in manufacturing for ourselves. Therefore, we must produce doctors not just for Sri Lanka, and we aren't training laboratory scientists just for Sri Lanka. We must not produce nurses just for Sri Lanka. The plan that should be carried out here should be to increase the production and increase the amount we send. But we aren't increasing training. They aren't even assisted in fulfilling their requirements to go abroad. They aren't even provided clinical training. When someone resigns, they aren't even talking about it.
Physicians Union Alliance for Medical and Civil Rights stressed that the weak administration and management mechanisms have led to the brain drain.
Some of the specialist doctors don't even have a ward and the facilities to admit patients. They don't even have the medical equipment and junior doctors to assist them. Despite what the Director General at the ministries say today, the provincial councils have failed to provide the necessary facilities to the specialist doctors attached under them to retain professionals in this country, present a credible plan to the country. If not, our country will be an intellectual desert in another year or two. Due to the loss of direct and indirect income taxes, due to the departure of professionals within the country, the economy of the country will further collapse. Indigenous medical practitioners are demanding a separate assembly to be established for the indigenous medical practitioners. Convening a media briefing on Saturday, they stressed that their existence in the medical profession would be threatened through the proposed Ayurveda Act.
The practice of this medical field has been hindered. The production of medicines required for the practice has been hindered. Cultivation of medicinal plants has been disrupted. Other medical systems are taking the indigenous medical practitioners under their control. This bill allows new laws. If the indigenous medical practitioners are reluctant in declaring the medical recipes and other discrete information, they will be arrested. Then what should they do? He has to decide between going to prison or revealing secrets. They won't do anything. They will simply stop practicing. As soon as one generation stops practicing, the practice of indigenous medicine will stop, right? We have to make a historic decision whether to protect the heritage or to destroy it. The proposed act harms the indigenous medical practitioners in continuing their practice. It will cancel the registration of the indigenous medical practitioners and will reduce the possibility of registration, and also will cancel the Ayurvedic academic courses established in 1961 for the children of indigenous medical practitioners. Even after going before the courts, the matter is still ongoing. The department only serves students who are currently registered.
A clean drinking water project vested with the people of Samagipura, a remote village in Sevanagala. Ending the decades-long quest in search of water. Another initiative successfully completed by Gammada. Gammada. For the people, by the people.
News first with the people.
Former President of the Sri Lanka Bar Association, President's Council Salia Piris expressed the following views on the influence of the executive on judicial affairs during an event in Colombo on Saturday. He emphasized that the Constitution does not give the authority to the Speaker to give rulings prior to the judgments of the court.
කතාවක් කරලා ජනාධිපතිතුමා කියනවා මම නියෝග ගන්නේ පාර්ලිමේන්තුවෙන් විතරයි මම පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ
In a speech, the president highlighted that he will only follow the instructions of the parliament and that he won't follow instructions by any other party regarding the debt restructuring. When the president made this statement, the next day there was a trial at the court regarding the debt restructuring and the impact of debt restructuring on the economy of Sri Lanka. Then what is the president signaling about? That was a signal that he would not accept whatever the court's decision is. How terrifying is that? It is a threat to the judiciary. Last March, the Supreme Court ordered the finance minister. Finance minister is the current president. The finance minister was given an order to not block the funds needed for the elections and to release the funds. He has not adhered to this order to this day. I saw some arguing that democracy is not needed and that a strong leadership is required. They say that a dictator is acceptable. They underestimate democracy. But without protecting democracy, we cannot ensure rights. The judiciary must be able to issue orders as per the law. The executive must adhere those orders. Never before we have seen the speaker announcing that the court decision will not be accepted even before the decision is made. The constitution does not have the power to take a decision that overrules the court decisions. But today it has happened. The country can be saved, but to do so institutions must be strengthened. We always await the arrival of a savior in every election. We follow that savior. After that savior was elected, we regret after 1 year. Now we are waiting for the next savior. Instead of doing that, let us strengthen these institutions of the country. If that happened, the country would be a democratic socialist republic.
එහෙම කරොත් තමයි මේ රට ශ්‍රී ලංකා ඇත්ත වශයෙන්ම ප්‍රජාතාන්ත්‍රික සමාජවාදී ජනරජයක් වෙන්නේ. ස්තුතියි.
පාලන බලය මෙහෙවනකොට ජනතාවගේ අයිතිවාසිකම් human rights මානව හිමිකම් ආරක්ෂා කිරීමට බැඳී සිටිනවා.
They are bound to protect the basic rights and human rights of the people while using the governing power. If they can't protect the fundamental rights of the people, they don't have the legitimate power. This is what the people told last year to the former president, that he can't protect the rights of the people and that he can't fulfill the basic needs of the people. That's why they told him to leave by force. If a mandate of 6.9 million was received and if the rights of the people couldn't be ensured, where is the power of the rulers? There is no integrity there. Beautiful politics is what people want, not decent politics, not politics with a sense. I know people who sometimes turn off the TV when politicians are speaking. It is very unfortunate because we should be proud of our representatives. But we also know why that happens. It is very dangerous for the country to come into politics if you have no feeling for the people. If you cannot work according to your conscience, you should be prepared to go home. I am saying this because the main reason for the collapse of the country today is because politics is thought of as a profession. That's why we see the same faces in the parliament for a long time, like 30 or 40 years.
මේ රටේ කඩා වැටීමට මූලිකම හේතුව දේශපාලනය වෘත්තියක් හැටියට හිතන හින්දා. ඒකයි අවුරුදු 30 40
The Public Electricity Employees Union demands an immediate investigation into the huge loss caused to the country by halting the construction of a 600-meter section of the Hambantota-Pulpitiya new transmission line for 6 years. The CEB was given approval for an emergency power purchasing of 100 megawatt for the Ace Ambilipitiya power station. We made certain interpretation to the electricity mafia. This mafia is active today and the public can get a certain idea of it. Hambantota-Pulpitiya new transmission line was to be completed in 2 years. It was not completed for 6 years. What happened in the end? This project is small one ranging for 600 meters. 99.4% of the project was completed and the remaining 0.6% was left to be completed. Was an investigation carried out into the incident? What were the steps taken by the minister? Emergency purchasing of power took place for the past 6 to 7 days for this power plant. More than 10,000 million have been spent on capacity charges. The payments are worth 4 times the value of the power plant. Why were these payments made? Our long-term electricity generation plan includes a 100 megawatt furnace oil power plant in Gaul. This was in the 2016 power generation plan. You must understand that the mafia is at play here. This is a short-term requirement. Power will be needed for a month or two. The private power plant will not provide electricity for 2 months. Agreements are signed for 6 months. Are those agreements being signed for the electricity they obtain? How much will have to be paid for the amount of electricity purchased? How much will be paid regardless of the purchase? They must clarify how much is paid for the capacity charges. It is the public funds that are being spent. The president must intervene. Otherwise, we will have suspicions as to whether you're also part of the corrupt political group. It has been more than 2 months since Agbo the elephant's front left foot was injured by a shooting. A Pirit chanting ceremony was held on Friday to bless Agbo and the staff and the veterinarians.
Founder of the National Namal Uyana Venerable Vanavasi Rahula Thero arrived at the Dimul Weather Reserve for the Pirit chanting ceremony. Elephants are a national resource of the country. Take a look at this elephant. Imagine how many dollars they might have brought down into the country selling him. The foreign tourists aren't visiting Sri Lanka to see the 7-storied buildings around Colombo. There is no country as beautiful as this country anywhere in the world. When Agbo needed a drug, a foreigner spent thousands and purchased that medicine. Then the customs said that they will release the drug only after they get paid. This is the situation of our country's government service.
Plastic pollution is a global issue and we are yet to find a solution to. A group of Sri Lankan researchers have found a potential solution to this pressing issue using the elements of Mother Nature. News First Dithmini De Silva files this report.
A research conducted by a group of researchers at the University of Kelaniya and University of Peradeniya found a potential solution to plastic pollution using fungi. Fungal samples from decaying hardwoods found in Sri Lanka's dry zone forests were used for the research, which was conducted in 2 setups. Principal researcher of the study, Professor Renukathanayaka, said the cultural fungal samples were then tested in 2 setups for their ability to degrade polyethylene, one with wood chips and the other without.
The polythene degradation was faster, efficient when in the absence of wood in the media. This is the key finding that is highlighted in this particular case because we found that the fungus could utilize whatever the organic material apparently. So we call it metabolically flexible. When we have rich carbon source, which is wood, yes, fungus is very happy to grow there. But when you don't have what you like to eat, you can shift your food desire to a less desirable thing, what we call is polythene. Some of the fungus that we tested has this ability to utilize carbon from polyethylene. We did series of experiments that is standard in the world, and we found that there are strong evidence that certain fungus that could degrade polyethylene.
Professor Renukathanayaka said the study was conducted based on local resources and that it was a team effort.
The methodology is available to the rest of the world, and this study was a complete study based on our resources, our knowledge, everything in locally generated. To go beyond this level, we need support, we need technology support and chemicals. That's a lot we need. There is a potential to be utilized this in the real world as well. This is a group effort. We had several long night discussions, Zoom meetings, how the exact mechanism. We cannot do this kind of a job with the 8 to 4. We are working continuously.
Similar researches have been conducted around the world, showing promising results.
So what we found was different fungal species have different capacities. Some could increase the water absorbance capacity of the polythene. Some could reduce the tensile strength. So there's a lot more we could do. Maybe one day we could use them all as a single product.
Scientists believe that identifying and replicating the enzymes these microorganisms secrete to degrade plastic could eventually help remove some of the 400 million tons of plastic waste produced each year, which often sits in landfills or overflows into the ocean rather than being recycled. Dithmini De Silva, News First, Colombo.
Refractions, the art exhibition showcasing the work of 2 veteran artists, was declared open at for the public at the Lionel Wendt Art Gallery on Friday.
The art exhibition titled Refractions was open to the public on Friday. The exhibition showcases the artwork of veteran artists Raja Sega and Muin Sahid. Paintings and sculptures of Raja Sega, one of Sri Lanka's finest contemporary artists, have brought him global recognition, having been exhibited at galleries across Australia, England and India. Refractions exhibited a collection of figure paintings of religious figures by Raja Sega. Muin Sahid, a recipient of many awards and recognition for his work in the arts, including the J.A. Jewell Award, has exhibited extensively at group and solo exhibitions in Delhi, Colombo, the Maldives, Oxford, Florence and Paris, and his work are in prominent collections globally. Muin's art is influenced by several factors, including his Sri Lankan heritage, a past life in crafting jewelry, history, mysticism, rhythm, and the personal philosophies of his portrait subjects. Muin Sahid's new collection revolves around climate change and the environment. His paintings showcased the net zero emission and individual responsibilities towards Mother Nature. This is the first time that both artists came together for an art exhibition in Colombo. They were accompanied by artists Bilal Raji Sahid, Spin Dona and Jihye Lee.
Colombo Model Train Show 2023, organized by the Model Railway Association, was held in Colombo on Saturday.
Railway modelling or model railroading is a hobby in which rail transport systems are modelled at a reduced scale and is extremely popular in Europe, USA and Asia. The scale models include locomotives, rolling stock, streetcars, tracks, signalling, cranes and landscapes including countryside, roads, bridges, buildings, vehicles, harbours, urban landscape, model figures, lights and features such as rivers, hills, tunnels and canyons. In Sri Lanka, the hobby of model railways has been in existence from the 1960s and it has significantly grown among enthusiasts and hobbyists. The Colombo Model Train Show 2023, organised by the Model Trainway Association, aims at creating a community of model train enthusiasts.
Sri Lanka's biggest pop culture convention, Lanka Comic-Con Light 2023, is back after nearly half a decade. News First Sandro Satyajit brings this report.
Anime, Marvel, DC, you name it. This is Sri Lanka's biggest pop culture convention here in Colombo, happening today. Now we've seen a turn-up of thousands of people around here being the geeks that they are, be it from teenagers to young adults to even adults turning up here of all ages throughout. This is Sri Lanka's biggest geek get-together that people have waited for after a 4-year-long break. People are here with a lot of excitement, a lot of energy here today. My name is Sandro Satyajit reporting for News First.
Lanka Comic-Con Light 2023, Sri Lanka's biggest pop culture convention, was held after 4 years.
People during this time of day in a country like Sri Lanka where it's so hot actually still wear the outfits and come is mind-blowing. But I love it. I love it. I think this should happen more than once a year.
This is something we really needed. I mean, everyone with similar minds, loving the same materials and getting to share that emotion together. Energy here is insane. Like, the crowd is much bigger. Last time we came, the crowd was much smaller. There's so much more people. There's a younger crowd, the new generation also loving the stuff that we loved when we were kids, and the energy. Fantastic stuff.
Honestly, it's a good thing, like, to get the whole anime community back together, like, after such a long time. It's superb to see everyone back in action.
I last went in 2019, but I'm so happy that it started once again, and hoping to have some more fun today, you know?
Right now, as you can see in the background, it is buzzing with excitement, with a lot of fans who absolutely love their share of popular and geek culture. It's not only the cosplayers, but also people who've turned up because it is the ultimate celebration of geek culture right here in Sri Lanka.
The exciting event featured over 2,000 plus participants, both young and old crowds alike. The day was filled with various activities, including Harry Potter wizarding duels, role-playing games, short film screenings, anime competitions, and much more.
We first began around 2012. We had our first show in 2015. We had to stop because of COVID and other problems, but we brought back the events. We called it Lanka Comic-Con Lights. There's a lot less money now. The economy is different. People have gone abroad. We want to have a simpler event. Just have one day, cut out all the bells and whistles, have a simple, straightforward event. Just focus on fun. We sold out 1,000 pretty quickly, and I'll be happy if we had 3,000. We probably will come in around that number. It's a geek community event. The geek is the guy who feels completely alone in a crowded room. And we're the people who get laughed at. We talk about, okay, I mean, right now I'm playing with toy soldiers, right, with a friend of mine, right, in front of everyone, right? And that's what we do. Comic-Con has always been the event where you can come be yourself. You don't have to worry every other day of the year. You don't have to hide who you are from your boss or your co-workers. You don't have to worry about those people. There's one day where this is our day, and we can be ourselves, and people can go, okay, that person dressed up as Red Riding Hood, because she thinks it's fun and she enjoys it. So this is one of those spaces where anyone can feel welcome. We have a strong LGBT following here as well. I mean, a lot of people who are absolutely not geeks, but they know this is a safe space. They come in, some of them got more involved, and they do things, and they interact with the community, and we're very supportive.
The evening was made spectacular when Sri Lanka's first ever zombie walk took place.
The prices of crude oil in the world market have seen a slight increase.
Accordingly, the price of a barrel of crude oil in the British Brent crude market was at $84.80. The price of a barrel of crude oil in the American market was marked at $81.25.
Today is the 11th day of the second leg of the LOLC Divi Savya program. LOLC Divi Savya program got underway today, centering the Matale district.
The LOLC Divi Savya program is implemented to support school students across Sri Lanka. The second leg of the LOLC Divi Savya focuses on government schools with less than 100 students. The students are distributed school books and stationery items they need for a year. This worthy initiative is a collaboration between the LOLC group and the Ministry of Education. School books and stationery items were distributed among students of the Dambulla Ambevela Primary School earlier today. The LOLC Divi Savya program distributed school books and stationery items at the Dambulla Tennakun Primary School and the Sigiriya Lenava Primary School. School supplies were distributed among students of the Sigiriya Nagalveva Primary School, Dambulla Ihala Eravula Primary School, Wattegedara Gammadda Junior School, Devahuwa Sinhala Junior School and Ihala Digala Junior School at the Galevela Education Zonal Office. The objective of LOLC Divi Savya is to support the Sri Lankan student population to achieve their future goals.
Shifting your attention to international news, China has launched military exercises around Taiwan, saying the drills were a stern warning to separatist forces on the island state. An angry response that was expected from Beijing following a recent visit by Taiwan's Vice President William Lai to the United States.
The People's Liberation Army's Eastern Theatre Command, which has responsibility for the area around Taiwan, said in a brief statement on Saturday morning that it was carrying out joint naval and air combat readiness patrols around Taiwan. The Chinese People's Liberation Army would be hosting joint naval and air force exercises focused on subjects such as ship-aircraft coordination to test seizing control of air and sea spaces and actual combat capabilities. A spokesperson for the Eastern Command said, quote, "The armed forces' ability to fight in real combat conditions will be tested," unquote. Taiwan's defense military strongly condemned China's latest military drills near the island, saying on Saturday that it would dispatch appropriate forces to respond and has the ability, determination and confidence to ensure national security. The Taiwan's defense ministry in a statement said, quote, "The launch of the military exercise this time not only does not help peace and stability in Taiwan Strait, but also highlights China's militaristic mentality," unquote. Taiwan's Vice President Lai, the front-runner to be Taiwan's next president at elections in January, returned from the United States on Friday, where he had stopped over on his way to and from an official state visit in Paraguay.
Russia has accused Ukraine of targeting Moscow in a drone attack after one smashed into a building, causing a powerful explosion.
The drone hit the Expo Center complex in central Moscow, which hosts conventions and conferences in the early hours on Friday. Russia's defense ministry and city mayor said that there were no casualties after air defenses shot down the unmanned drone, which then fell on the building situated about 3 miles from the Kremlin. Footage circulating on social media purportedly shows the moment debris from the drone struck the building. There is a small explosion followed by smoke billowing from the structure. Meanwhile, 7 people, including a 6-year-old child, were killed and 90 wounded when a Russian missile struck a central square in the historic northern Ukrainian city of Cherniv. According to the Ukrainian Interior Ministry, people had been on their way to church to celebrate a religious holiday when the strike took place, and the ministry added 12 of the wounded were children and 10 were police officers.
St. Peter's College wrapped up an unbeaten season by securing the coveted 2023 Schools Rugby League, defeating defending champions Isipatana College 28-17 on Saturday. The Peterites and Isipatana players took to the field in the midst of an electric atmosphere at the St. Peter's College ground. St. Peter's College drew first blood in the opening minutes when Yumet Shihara scored and converted. Isipatana College were awarded a penalty in the 11th minute, which was successfully put away by winger Rinesh Silva. St. Peter's went over the line once more through Dulaj Navodya in the 20th minute. Although the on-field decision was a try, assistance of the television match official was sought to confirm the touchdown, but failed to provide conclusive evidence upholding the on-field decision. Yumet Shihara scored a penalty in the 26th minute to further extend the Peterites' lead. Rinesh Silva, the season's highest point scorer, got Isipatana back into the game at the stroke of half-time, scoring a blinder with some brilliant footwork and converting thereafter. Dinesh Ranasinghe scored the third try for the Peterites, and it was confirmed after a brief TMO review. Damhiru Rajapaksa managed to secure a vital 5 points for his team off the bench, and it was converted by Rinesh Silva to make the score 20-17, cutting down the deficit to mere 3 points. The Peterites made their victory all but certain in the 58th minute. Kushan Tarindu was called up once more when St. Peter's College were awarded a penalty, extending their lead by further 3 points. The summit clash ended with St. Peter's claiming victory, securing their first school rugby league title since 2010. Sweden took third place with 2-0 win over host Australia in the FIFA Women's Football World Cup 2023. Sweden beats host Australia 2-0 to take the third place in the FIFA Women's Football World Cup 2023 at the Brisbane Stadium on Saturday, setting a stage for Sunday's long-awaited tournament final between Spain and European champions England. Fridilonia Rolfo scored off a penalty in the 30th minute to put Sweden ahead of Austria's Clara Polkinghorn, kicked the back of Sweden's Stina Blackstenius' foot and brought her down. The second day of the Thomian Funfair got underway at the St. Thomas's College, Mount Lavinia on Saturday.
St. Thomas's College, Mount Lavinia, together with the OBA and PTA present Thomian Funfair 2023.
Many fan-favorite artists such as Umaria, Bhatyan Santosh and Kaiser Kais entertained the crowd at the Thomian Funfair on Friday. The two-day funfair is organised to raise funds for sports of St. Thomas's College. The funfair featured an array of vendors, games and live performances.
I am at the club ground of St. Thomas's College, where the second day of the Thomian Funfair 2023 is currently underway. A large crowd of people, starting from past pupils to parents, are all gathered here today to witness the excitement of the event. All preparations have been made to give the exclusive opportunity to all those who attend this event to do their own screen tests as well. So if you have the dream of becoming a newscaster, the Gamma the Tech Bus SL is the place for you. Also, many exciting events and live performances from top artists of Sri Lanka have been lined up. So do join the Thomian Funfair 2023, as so much has been organised, starting from fun games to live performances. I'm Theruni Karnaratna, reporting for News First.
MTV MBC and News First are the media partners of the mega event.
From that, we bring to a close this edition of Primetime News on TV1. For details of these stories and much more, simply log on to our website www.newsfirst.lk. For the News First, where the people come first, I'm Martin Santines. You take care and good night.